It may happen that a table contains strings of characters that recall an entry in a database, to which other data are related. For example, imagine an Excel sheet containing an inventory of products. In a cell, App 11 is reported to refer to Apple's iPhone 11, indicating the quantities ordered and stocks on the same line. In a different Excel sheet, in the row where App 11 is present, the full name of the phone, the price, and the technical characteristics are entered. Using VLOOKUP, in the first sheet, the inventory, it is possible to have Excel search for the string of App 11 characters in the second sheet, where the specifications are listed. VLOOKUP will report on the first sheet the full name and price of the phone as indicated on the second sheet. Again, it may happen that you have a customer table with a list of names, surnames, and tax codes. In a different sheet, we find the same tax codes, but with the email addresses and telephone numbers alongside. Still using VLOOKUP, Excel will be able to search for the tax code on the second table, used as a unique key to copy the email address corresponding to that tax code in the first table, completing the customer's personal data. By using the VLOOKUP command, it is therefore possible to search for a string of characters in a sheet or in a range of cells to show the contents of other columns of the row in which the string was found. The syntax for using the VLOOKUP function is equals VLOOKUP, open parenthesis, lookup value, comma, table array, comma, call index num, comma, range lookup, close parenthesis. The lookup value variable means the string whose correspondence is to be sought. In the previously seen examples, it would be App 11 or the customer's tax code. The table array is the range of cells in which to look for the correspondence of the search key and the columns whose corresponding contents will be reported. The call index num is a numerical indicator which is useful for specifying to Excel how many rows on the right will have to be considered to identify the results to be reported in the cell. Let's return to the example of the tax code. Suppose that in the first column there is the tax code and the email address to be retrieved is in the column immediately on the right. In this case, it will be necessary to indicate the value 2 because it is precisely the second column. If, on the other hand, between the tax code and the email address there were 2 empty columns, for example, the tax code in column A, the email in column D, the value 4 should be indicated. The range lookup indication must be expressed with the values true or 1 or false 0 and is the answer to an implicit question that Excel asks us. The question is, do you want an approximate match to the value indicated? If it is considered sufficient to look for a value similar to the one indicated, you can enter true. In this case, Excel will report the results alongside the value that it will find most similar to what you are looking for. To be clear, if you look for the number 131 and in the column where the search is made there are the numbers 120, 128 and 141, Excel will show what is next to 128 because this is the number it considers closest to 131. The same thing happens with text strings. Excel will evaluate the similarity and show what is next to the most similar string. On the contrary, as happens in most cases, if you want to search in the table for the precise term that you have indicated, you must enter false. In this case, a result will only be shown if Excel finds exactly that string or number. If it does not find it, it will show the error #NA. Let's now take a look at a practical example. We have in the sheet called Names the personal data of some customers. For each customer, we know a name, place of birth, date of birth, and tax code. In another sheet called Contacts, we have the tax code associated with the email address and telephone number. We want to fill in the email and telephone number fields of the Names sheet, automatically taking them from the Contacts sheet. It should be noted that the records in the two sheets are sorted differently, and thus performing a simple copy and paste would not be useful. The unique key to use is clearly the tax code. Even if the surname column were present in the Contacts sheet, since there are two Rossis, searching for the surname would not be effective, because Excel would always and only consider the first of the two Rossis found. The function to be used is VLOOKUP, and, upon moving within the first cell of the Names sheet that you want to fill with the email address, therefore cell F2, you will need to write equals VLOOKUP, open parenthesis, E2, comma, contacts, exclamation mark, A $1, semicolon, C $6, comma, 2, comma, false, close parenthesis. We will thus look for the term contained in E2, that is Mario Bianchi's tax code, inside the A1C6 array of the contacts sheet. Since the email address is in the second column among those considered in the contacts sheet, we will insert 2 to ask Excel to report what is indicated in the email column. Finally, we indicate false because we wish to find an exact correspondence to the requested tax code. Note that in the formula we have blocked with a dollar the rows within the A$1, C$6 range of the contacts sheet. This will be useful because, by copying the formula in the lines below, the reference to the matrix will not slip downwards. By copying the formula in the line below, we would then get equals VLOOKUP, open parenthesis, E3, comma, contacts, exclamation mark, A$1, semicolon, C$6, comma, 2, comma, false, close parenthesis. The reference to E2 has correctly become E3. We are now going to look for Gianni Neri's tax code. But the range in which to look for it must remain fixed. If we had not blocked the rows of the range, the reference would have been transposed one line downwards. Contacts, exclamation mark, A2, semicolon, C7. In this case, it would not be a problem. Gianni Neri's tax code is still in that range in A6. But upon going down to the next line, the formula would no longer work. The reference would become contacts, exclamation mark, A3, semicolon, C8. But the tax code of Antonio Rossi is in A2, and thus the string would not be found, and we would get a #NA result. Instead, by indicating the correct formula, locking the contacts, exclamation mark, A$1, semicolon, C$6 range, you can copy the formula in all the cells below, and you will automatically get the emails corresponding to the tax code you are looking for. To enter the phone numbers in the next column, the function to be entered will be the same. The only difference is that 3 must be indicated as the column number. Equals VLOOKUP, open parenthesis, E2, comma, contacts, exclamation mark, $1, semicolon, $6, comma, 3, comma, false, close parenthesis. This is because in the contact sheet, if you consider the tax code column as the first column, the telephone number will be the third. It should be noted that, for example, if the tax code had been found in column B and the telephone number in column D, the number to be indicated would again have been 3. You have to count the number of columns starting from the first, regardless of the letter with which the column is marked. The HLOOKUP function is similar to VLOOKUP, but is rotated by 90 degrees. While VLOOKUP looks for the data in the various rows and reports the value of the columns alongside, with HLOOKUP, Excel will search for the result in the columns of the range, and the value present in the rows below will be reported. Let's take, for example, an Excel sheet in which we have listed some elements of the periodic table with the indication for each of atomic number, atomic mass, and melting point. If we wanted to ask Excel to automatically find the melting point of the element whose atomic mass is 15 or slightly less, we could use the following formula: equals HLOOKUP, open parenthesis, 15, comma, A3, semicolon, K4, comma, 2, comma, true, close parenthesis. In this formula, we have indicated as 15 the term to search for. We entered A3 semicolon K4 as an interval in which to search for the value, and asked to report the contents of the second row in the matrix. Given that this time we wish to find an approximate match, we have set true as the last parameter. Excel now answers with -210, which is actually the melting point of nitrogen, an element that has the atomic mass closest to 15, 14.0067. It should be noted that the search is always carried out on the first row among those indicated. Similarly, on the VLOOKUP, the search is always performed on the first column of the indicated matrix. And the result must necessarily be read from the following rows. For this reason, in our search, we started from row number 3 of the sheet, which is the one containing the indication of the atomic mass, which is the data we were looking for, and we requested to indicate row 2 of our range, which corresponds to row number 4 of the sheet considered, containing the value of the melting point.